Hello, hello. So, not a lot of people here right now. This is my first live stream in a really long time, and I'm looking forward to it. I have nothing planned. I'm in a new part of my building. I'm the only one here too, so if people come up to the door, like deliveries and stuff, I'm actually expecting a new saxophone mouthpiece, a new tenor saxophone coming in the mail today. But if just anybody walks up, I'm gonna end up having to stop and help them out. So I might pause a stream here or there. I promise you it won't be very long. If it's a delivery, it's just a quick signature. The door is 10 feet from me. So if you see a pause, that's why. But welcome to the first like real Traverse music stream, Traverse custom guitars, whatever you want to end up calling us. Chances are we're going to switch out of the Traverse music field and go back to the Traverse guitars thing now that we don't have retail stuff anymore. Super exciting. Yeah, I plan on hoping I can start planning to just stream 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week while I'm working on stuff, and whatever I have on the bench is stuff we'll work on. I had no plan going into this, so I literally just grabbed the first thing on my to-do list for customers, which is this nice Martin here. This is one of the Road series, so it's one of the Mexican Martins, but it's a decent little guitar. They usually hold up pretty well, and they do a decent job. So, alrighty. So this customer was just talking about some kind of high string height. We'll see if we can get a nice view of that here. Gonna be kind of tough. Strings are pretty high on this. But there's not a lot that actually needs to be done here. He wanted a full setup. I said, nah, we don't need a full setup, man. We'll just actually, we'll straighten the neck out a little bit, which is gonna relieve some of the height here. And then we'll lower the saddle ever so slightly. And I think we're gonna have a really nice playing guitar. I checked the nut here. The nut was actually cut great. The way I check the nut, if you don't do it this way, is I just press down on the 3rd fret and I see if the string is touching the 1st fret or not when that's happening. You don't want it touching, you want it just above. So, anywho, when you guys do join chats, I know there's going to be a grueling process getting people to watch live, especially during the day, without much of a following. We do have about 1,000 subs on YouTube, and we got about 1,000, 1,200, 1,300 likes on Facebook, follows on Facebook. So it should be not too bad. Look forward to just getting more and more people just hanging out. I don't know if you can see in my message drawers. Don't make fun of them. Hey, how's it going? Thanks for posting. Let me know when you're here. The live chat updates very quickly, but the number of viewers doesn't for some reason. So it says I don't even have any viewers right now. But hey, how's it going? Hope all is well. Now, Devin, you had just messaged me about some stuff. Is that correct? Yeah, I hope my explanation was decent enough on that. It was very late at night when I was replying. I was like basically in bed essentially, and I was like, oh, I should reply to this. Because if you know anything about me, it's I can't step away from my work ever. But hopefully the explanation made sense. If it didn't, just let me know. I'll try to explain it right here on the chat. And if you missed the intro, basically what we're doing on this, we're doing a pretty straightforward string change, but we're also going to take off the saddle on this guitar and shape it slightly just by trying to get it lowered to give us a little better action on here. So, and if there's stuff you think would be really cool to see on stream, by all means, I'm always up for suggestions. The whole what's on my bench thing is kind of just something I am doing to see how, I don't know, just see how streaming during the day goes. There's not a lot of people that have the ability to just watch YouTube during the day. But also us musicians, we, especially for full-time musicians, we work at night, right? So on a separate note, if you are in the Menasha, Wisconsin area and you're not watching from far away, I have this fantastic program that I do with D'Addario where they give you a nice big recycling box and they collect strings and I get to ship them to them, and they actually go to a place that specializes in string recycling, specifically instrumental string recycling. A lot of music stores actually have this same program, and a lot of them try to use it to sell other people's strings. You don't need to buy stuff. You don't have to come in and buy strings to use it. If you got strings, you need to get rid of them, and you want to get rid of them the right way and recycle them, by all means, come on in. I will never say no to something like that. So, all right, that saddle's in there nice and tight. Love it. Fantastic. So, a couple things when we are taking care of a saddle. First of all, there's always a specific way that a saddle goes on. There are often saddles that are too tight. I said this one was nice and tight. When I say that, if it is too tight and we can't get this to rest on top of the piezo inside here, what we need to do is actually loosen or sand this down so it's a little looser fit. We don't want a loose fit, but we want a looser fit so that this is resting on the piezo. So when we sand down saddles, we always want to sand them down very evenly for two reasons. The first reason is if we don't sand it down evenly and you could possibly have rocking. One side could be lower where your high strings are way too low or your low strings are way too low, things like that. The other thing too is if you have a piezo going through your bridge, you need this saddle to rest on that evenly all the way across. The best way that I found to lower saddles is I take some sandpaper. I don't use this often because it's kind of expensive. This 3M tape sandpaper. This is really great because I could just tape it to the surface I'm working on. So now this is taped on a flat surface and I can just sit here and run this back and forth on that flat surface, keeping even pressure by holding it in the middle. You can do that with regular sandpaper and hold it still. I just have this stuff because a lot of times I put this on my straight edges when I'm doing fret levels and crowns and polishes. So that's the goal here. Why am I not measuring anything to see how much I need to take off? Because I don't think we need to take off all that much. I am going to take a pencil and I'm going to mark a nice line across the bottom. So hopefully this shows up. Hopefully this GoPro camera is nice enough to see that. But there's a nice thin line on the bottom of that. And I know that if I see, I've gone far enough. Is it a perfectly even line? No, it's not. I'm just going to know from experience if this is sanding evenly. So yeah, anytime you want to bring strings in, man, just come on, throw them in. Again, I don't pay for the shipping or anything. I am more than happy to lend a hand and recycling that stuff properly. So On to sanding. This is 220 grit, by the way, so it's not going to take very long to get what I need done. And we're done already. That simple, that quick. Are all of them that quick and that simple? No, absolutely not. This one certainly was. There's a couple reasons for it. One, we didn't need to go down that far. Two, I'm using 220 grit sandpaper. And three, this is an actual bone nut, not tusk, and bone tends to just sand away a lot easier. I'm just going to mute my All right. That sandpaper, checking everything again, making sure this is nice and even. We're good to go. So a lot of guitarists, they change their own strings. If you are not one of those people and you want to change your strings, I am all for you bringing it here. Our string changes are only 20 bucks, and we don't have like a deluxe version and a normal version like a lot of other places do. It's just 20 bucks. We do a deluxe string change every single time. So a lot of times people say, oh, there's a deluxe string change, and they clean the guitar and stuff like that. And a lot of times they won't even take the time to clean the frets. They'll just clean the guitar, they'll wipe it down with polish, they'll put some oil on the fretboard, they'll string it up, and they'll call it a day. Sometimes the places with the deluxe, they try to stretch your strings out beforehand. I don't know why you don't do that every time. Some of them will even go as far as messing with the truss rod a little bit. Most normal string changes at most places is literally just they're going to change the strings, and that is literally all they're going to do. In fact, there's a lot of places that will say, yeah, we'll change your strings, and they don't look at the guitar at all. And sometimes it's, especially for the new people, oh, I just bought this guitar, I'm looking at starting guitar, I need to change my strings. They take it in, they change the strings, they don't even look at the guitar to see if it's playable for that new person. So really try to avoid that kind of stuff here. If you're wondering what I'm doing right now, I'm cutting up this stuff, this little white stuff. It's called Gorgamite. Pretty fantastic stuff. I like to use it on guitars that have obviously finished fretboards. These fretboards, this wood isn't this dark, and if I take some steel wool to it, it doesn't always come out great. We can scratch it up pretty good, and it doesn't look pretty for the customer. I'm not about that, but these frets are a little dull. We're going to polish them up, so we're just going to use some Gorgamite for that. So that's what we're looking at on that sheet, this little tiny sheet here. I'm gonna grab a towel. I'm gonna finish all my sentences. I'm just gonna wipe this off real quick and kind of show you guys how much of a difference this is, because these frets don't look bad when they're standing alone. Keeping your frets clean is super duper important. A lot of people underestimate how important that is, and even just wiping it down after using that, you see how much we've changed this rag. But look at this difference here. Sorry we don't have other angles right now. I'm working on another camera. This has been a huge. This room used to be about, I want to say 60 guitars in it, and in the last week and a half, this has been all converted into a shop. So I'm running one camera today. I'm actually running audio off the camera, which is why my voice is not the greatest quality. Just a lot of hurdles were jumping, and I was like, man, I want to start streaming. That was the whole point of doing this. So I just streamed today. No plan or anything like that. And I thought, if people show up, cool. If they don't, whatever. So, in the future, we're going to have a side camera, and then we are also going to do a top-down as well. And then, especially for like large builds and things like that, we should have cameras at all the stations for a lot of my big tools. So if I'm working at the planer, we're going to have a camera at the planer where we can actually jump to that camera, which even if it's in the other room, and you guys can watch me do the planing process. So a lot of times we take a guitar when we're making it, and that wood isn't the correct thickness yet. We need to plane that down. That's a lot of work to do. It would be even more without that tool, but it is a lot of work to plane a guitar just a quarter of an inch down to do it properly. Take your time doing it. It is a ton of work. So notice I use a very small piece of that stuff. This stuff is pretty expensive, and a small piece goes a long way. I use that tiny piece on this whole fretboard. So I did mention cleaning your frets, super important. Big reason for that is a lot of times what's happening is your frets are oxidizing and all that stuff, but the acid from your sweat and the oils and stuff in your fingers is actually very acidic. And if we just let that sit on these frets and on this fretboard, and we don't clean it off ever, it's just gonna wear this thing down that much more. It could even cause your frets to wear down quicker. I dropped a pin, give me a second. So next thing I would personally do, which a lot of times is not involved in the super setup or the regular setup, or I'm sorry, restring, is I actually tighten tuners. I don't over tighten them. If they don't need to move, I won't move them, but these are all slightly loose. And I am not putting a lot of pressure on this. See, it's about one finger, barely moved. It's just a little thing a lot of people don't think about. Something I'm adamant about. It does help a little bit with your tuning stability, the fact that that tuner isn't going to move at all, no matter what pressure you have on that string. And over time, they tend to just get really, really loose, and a lot of people don't catch that, so definitely worth doing. Using a different part of the rag, I'm going to wipe down this whole guitar, and I'm just going to use, this is from StuMac, this is a color tone, Clean and Shine. It's not abrasive, it is literally just to shine stuff up. If this guitar had a lot of gunk on it, we would be using something else to kind of break that down. We just need to wipe this down. Especially that fretboard, after putting all the Gorgamite on there. The Gorgamite's not bad for it, but what I want to do is put a little oil on there, and I don't want to put the oil over the Gorgamite. It makes no sense to do that. So if this fretboard just needed absolutely no oil at all, I wouldn't bother, but it does. So we are going to wipe it down with a cleaner. Therapeutic, I mean, honestly, you need to come in sometime when I'm doing either a brand new guitar, or I'm doing refret, or I'm doing a fret level crown and polish. Some of these shines that I get, I should show you some tools. Like if that's something therapeutic to you and that's something you absolutely love doing, I use an extension on my Dremel, and I actually have like buffing wheels and stuff for frets when I'm doing stuff like that, and it's like, honestly, it's a mirror glaze. Barry, welcome, man. So happy you can make it. UPS guy is here. Not sure if it's a delivery for me, but in case I pause the stream real quick, that is why. So I did not wipe down that fretboard like I said I was going to, though. UPS guy's cool, though. We don't mind him being on the stream. Because I got a nice sized parking lot that's easy to turn his big truck around in, and a gas station right across the way. So he might be just chilling. Let's see. Look at that. I mean, that's crazy, right? I feel like we could do that 3 or 4 more times, too. That might be overkill. All right, we are ready for oil. Guys, give me 1 second here. Again, new cameras and stuff. So, oil. What we are using here is the Dunlop fretboard 65. I use this like, it's like the only thing I end up using for oils. There's a lot of people that go there and they buy like just lemon oil over the counter. That's fine too. I don't know. I mean, this isn't expensive. You don't use a ton. They do come with a nice like, they call I think they call it like a Dabo-matic for the top of this, which is fantastic. Yeah, it's different. So the semi-chrome polish, that stuff is pretty great, but it's completely unnecessary when you end up using those wheels. And sometimes like when I like, for instance, if I'm doing a custom build, obviously custom guitars cost a lot of money, and I always try to give people the best product possible. I'll even like take another buffing wheel that's wax based only and then wax all of the frets as well. That doesn't allow them to get fingerprints on them, so that when I present the guitar, I mean, obviously that wax wears off very quickly, but when I present that guitar, it's just shiny as can be. Yeah, I mean, fret polishing is an awesome thing for those of us who care enough to do it. So it's well worth it, and getting all that DNA off your fretboard and stuff too. That's always nice. So this oil, I take the Dabo-matic I was talking about. I should take my ADD meds today, huh? Dabo-matic's great for like the first like, I don't know, third of the bottle, and then it really starts to break down. I tend to actually like this method better. I just saturate a rag, and here I am. I'm just gonna wipe it on the fretboard, and I'm not pushing hard. I'm just letting it literally just pile up on the fretboard there. Not so much that we have a bunch of excess dripping off the edges, but enough to where if it soaks in, there's more there for it. So I'm gonna let that soak up. And this is actually something a lot of people miss here. I'm gonna take this saddle off one more time. Get my little helper. And if you have an acoustic guitar that has a wood bridge, 99% of them do, it's also nice just to get some oil on that thing. Reason being is if this gets really dried out as well, it's going to shrink. And if that's shrinking and the finish wood that it's on is not shrinking, we're going to have some issues with the bridge staying glued. So keeping this hydrated so that this stays the same really helps ensure that that bridge doesn't start to shrink, that glue doesn't start to break, and we don't get our bridge peeling up. Really simple solution for stuff like that. Obviously, guitars are made all sorts of different ways. There's some really nice ones out there. There's some not so nice ones out there that it didn't matter how much oil you put on there. That bridge is coming off one day anyway. But preventative maintenance is a big part of this whole thing. And don't worry, we are going to wipe all that oil off the top too. We have a finish there, so we don't need to worry about that soaking in. And we can already see, well, I can see them, I'm pretty sure. But we have, especially up next to the frets, we have oil soaking in really well on all those spots. Close this before I tip it over. Am I done selling custom guitars now? No, absolutely not. I am going to be around. It's just they're made to order now, so I'm not going to build anything unless it's for myself. Like I have a nice, cool single P90 Telecaster that is a custom that I made for myself. That will probably go on sale one day because I'm going to be playing a bunch of other stuff, and I fall in and out of love of different guitar shapes and bodies and styles and all that stuff all the time. So customs are always going to be available. I'll always build them, especially if it's made to order. Like that's the best way to go. So if you are ever interested in a custom build, know anybody interested, have them stop by. We'll see what we can do. We can do anything from like the pre-made bodies and the pre-made necks to making a custom body and a custom neck. We paint it and everything here, do all the finish work, hand carve the neck, put the frets on, all that stuff is done in shop. No problem doing that stuff. Or if you're looking for a more budget friendly, we can get the pre-made body, the pre-made neck where there's a lot less work. I will be building an all parts guitar very soon and releasing a video on that. That's going to be super fun. And then we're also going to be finishing up, I don't know if you've been following on our channel, I think Devin and Barry, both of you have, we'll be finishing up that StewMac kick guitar build as well. So that would be also a budget thing. You're still getting a pretty cool guitar. It's a kit. So there are others out there that are going to be shaped the same and look the same if they use the same paint, but it's still pretty customizable. I will not be selling Orsus anymore either, with the retail stuff being gone. So there's not going to be, I shouldn't say there's never going to be guitars in here for sale. There will be guitars in here for sale. I don't really anticipate ever having more than 2 or 3. And also, when we do have 2 or 3, they are going to be more boutique-y stuff. The last guitar that I had in here, that was one that I would have kept around long term if it stuck around, was a 1964 Gretch Countryman. Really cool old guitar. Chet Atkins guitar, if you're into that stuff, Beals guitar. Had that not sold so quickly, Mark Goldie from Rock Garden Studios in Appleton bought that for the studio. So if you want to play it and you want to put it on a record, that's the place to be. Had that not sold quickly, I would have kept that around for a long time. So cool, unique vintage stuff or unique boutique stuff, by all means, I will keep around the store, especially if people are using that as a trade-in towards a custom guitar. Other than that, like your just everyday, you know, your Squire Strats and stuff like that, I do not plan on having those around at all. Orsus was our rival to that stuff, so that is why that's not going to be around. So I don't know if you guys see a difference so far. I'm seeing a difference. Hopefully it's looking better on the camera too. Getting a fresh, clean rag. That's going to become my oil rag now. Use a telly. I make a lot of tellies. And I have a couple. Oh yeah, you can see my stack of just stuff in process of just some of these. Well, all of these are basically just random guitars in process that I've started at one point or another. And there's even a couple tellies in there. There's a couple Les Paul shaped guitars that are going to have telly configurations. Lots of, I mean, like when you're doing a custom build, there's just endless limits. If you're looking at a telly for the body shape, by all means, we can do a telly shape. If you're looking at a telly just for the style, but let's say you hate the telly shape and you want a Les Paul style body with that, cool, let's do that too. Let's see, I even have this is so dusty. This is a guitar that was made out of an old door. So, I mean, this is pretty cool, but again, this is just a project that I've just been sitting on for a long time. You can tell how dusty that is. Like, see that line of dust I just wiped off the... But anyways, stuff sits. Les Paul style. Les Paul style telly configuration. So this is a guitar that I cut out and had done, I mean, this guitar's been here like this for at least a year and a half, 2 years. I just haven't had time to work on it. Big, huge maple cap on that thing. That's probably about 3/8 of an inch of a cap on there. And then it's also pine, so it's incredibly light, like crazy, crazy light. The Blue Jean guitar. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, we can show that one real quick. We're not in a hurry, right? Let me run and grab that. Yeah, so this is almost done, and this will be for sale. Pretty generic stuff, just a strap body, and I did a real rough finish on it, and I actually like it a ton, and I think it works really well with this color pickup and these color pickups and this color pick guard. We got the fretboard taped off because we're doing a fret level crown and polish on it eventually, so yeah. Hey, what's going on? So yeah, I mean, tons of stuff, tons of options. There's just a million things. This will be for sale though. This is a custom that was started again probably a year and a half ago. Is finally going to see the world this year. So a lot of times is I get this inspiration, I get this idea, whatever the case, or I want to experiment. This was an experiment actually, and the body, I just love the way it came out. And I'm just like, yeah, I got to do this. I figured as much when I saw the Assad, dude. But yeah, I mean, I get this inspiration, and then stuff just sits. Stuff sits a long time, and then I get a bunch of other things going on in between. Dom's custom guitar is going to get made while live streaming, which is going to be insane, and that's going to be, correct me if I'm wrong, but we decided on a baritone. I think we're doing baritone, right? Oh, here's one more that hasn't seen the light of day in forever. This one needs a lot of work yet, but this is one that I actually put the finish on and everything while I was still doing guitars out of my house. So, but just an SG style, fun stuff. So. Baritones are the best. Yeah, and another thing that I'm going to do as well is, and some of you know this, some of you might not, is I have some older guitars that are missing a ton of parts, or I have older guitars that just need some love, and a lot of those I'm going to end up repairing on streams and then just selling to, I mean, if somebody sees on the stream that they love, or just selling to the general public. I got a 73 Gibson L6S that I'm putting custom pickups into and redoing the whole thing. We have a 72 Epiphone. It's one of the ET ones. I just don't remember the number, like 298 maybe. That was pretty cool. Yeah, so that actually wasn't a baritone Barry. That was actually a 6-string bass that I put that pedal into, that octave pedal, and built that into there with the LED lighting and stuff like that. And that was for a customer, obviously. So that was in the shop for a whole 2 hours before they came and picked it up. Yeah, they were so excited. Then I also got an old 70s Takamine with a Martin headstock back when they were going to build guitars for Martin and then ended up not. So they just put their logo on a bunch of Martin guitars and sold those. That's a really cool one. I've already pulled the frets and stuff off that, and we're still sanding down the fretboard and things like that. So I'm going to be building and rebuilding old stuff. I'm going to be building new stuff, all sorts of cool stuff on the stream. So again, I'm just hoping that like people dig it and it gets popular and people like just hanging out while I'm working. Hanging out while you're probably working. And just having a good time and enjoying guitars as much as I do. So we are all cleaned up. We're all oiled up. We sanded down our saddle, so our action's going to be a little bit nicer. We haven't adjusted the neck yet. I'm not going to do that until we get our strings put on, we get them tuned, we get them stretched, and the neck is under tension, and then we'll adjust it to where it should be. Often I do adjust necks way before all of that, and I guess with acoustics, I tend not to do that nearly as much. So, electrics, I'm pretty good. I can look at a neck and go, oh, I need to overbow you this much, and then I put strings on and it's about right. Because of how much different each set of strings on acoustics, I just, not that I guess wrong a lot, it's why waste the time when I can do it afterward. Especially when the access is right here for it. And I just remembered, this is a Martin, so I'm going to need a special Allen key for that. I better hope I have it. I'm sure I do. It's just a matter of, I know I have it. Do I have it where I know where it is? That's the real question. So if you have joined since recently, I see we have a few more viewers. I would love to chat with you guys. If you want to say hi in the chat, just so I know who's here. Welcome, welcome. I know there's a few more viewers now. How much does a refret typically cost? He has a 59 Jazzmaster that has pretty worn frets. Well, first of all, if his frets are worn, that doesn't mean they need to be replaced. You might be able to get away with just leveling them, recrowning them, and then polishing them up. But refrets on guitars can go anywhere from like $350 to $500-ish, depending on quite a few factors. So like the Jazzmaster, I really doubt that it has binding on the fretboard and stuff like that, but stuff like that does end up costing extra because we can't damage all that binding, which means we have to spend more time on it. So really it's just a matter of paying for that time. The materials don't cost that much if you think about just having enough fret wire and stuff like that. A lot of it's just time consuming. For those of you who know how I do things, like I don't like to take shortcuts. I don't use cheap tools. I use the high-end stuff because I'm comfortable with it and it works right and it does the job very well the first time. I don't take shortcuts on stuff, so the work we do is very solid, very good work. And I'm not trying to be arrogant when I say that, but at the same time, that means we got to charge for all of our time that we put into it as well. So you might find refrets out there for $200, $250, and if they're doing it with the same quality and the same tools, good on them. I'm not sure how with overhead and stuff, but I know my prices are very competitive for this area. And people just freak out when you hear $350 for a refret and everybody's like, holy cow, why is this so much? It's so much time. So much time. And even in those refrets, what I tend to typically do is also, especially if the fretboard isn't finished, I'll replane the fretboard. That's what we have going on. Let me grab a Takamine real quick. So this is that Takamine I was talking about. And if you can see on those first few, what would have been frets there, we got divots in that fretboard. So I'm actually re-sanding this whole fretboard, and a lot of the divots, there's a little bit of towel in there, don't mind that. A lot of the divots that were up here have come out from re-sanding that, but we're still pretty deep in divots here. So we're gonna actually keep sanding this down and plane this down so that we have a proper radius all the way around it. We don't have those divots in here when we're planing. And then when we refret it, it's gonna feel and look very much like a new fretboard. Now, if you don't want that new look, there's ways to make it not look new still. Obviously, when you sand the fretboard, the edge of it becomes very, very square. So we have to do work on that too. We got to round the edges and things like that. So when we're doing stuff like that, that's all just more time that adds on to that price. So I'm very much a believer in, if you're going to do it the right way, for sure. So, all right, we're going to take our oil rag one more time and wipe down this fretboard so we don't have oily strings when we're playing. Excellent, excellent. I could do a whole video on how to string a guitar alone, especially on an acoustic where people like to shove those end pins in so far. But not every single bit of the channel has to be learning, right? I love that sound. Dom, was that an E? I'm glad the stream stayed up though. I got a notification that like Amazon Web Services was actually down. So give me one second. Is there a package with that? Okay, yeah, I'm waiting on a package. Hipshot makes great tuners. I know you love them. Grover is a fantastic tuner. Hipshot's a great tuner. Kluson is also a great tuner. I had a Gibson Les Paul I was playing, and it just was not staying in tune. I was trying to play the thing live. Put some Klusons on there. Locking tuners, 3x3 with 20-to-1 ratio. If you know, you know. They were like $65. I mean, obviously, I'm getting that dealer cost, but for 20-to-1 ratio locking tuners at that price, that's insane. Especially from such a known brand. Like, it would be one thing if it was that, Guitar Monkey or something. I don't know. There's some new brands that are coming out, and I'm not saying they're bad. They're just new, so they're selling for lower than the other ones to get their name out there. And I don't know anything about them. But for a brand like Kluson that's been around for that long. The open gear ones, yeah, they look cool too. I had put them on a pawn shop remake I was doing, and I really like the look of it. I think I have one more set of hip shots here. Yeah. Got 3x3s. What color are they though? Aha. I think these are black. Yeah. Yeah, so I got these, they're 3x3. Do you know the ratio on these though, Barry? What is the ratio on most hip shot tuners? Because I think that's the biggest, like that is the most important thing to me, is do I have a high enough ratio to get that long-term intonation and that fine tuning that I need / want. I think it's 18-1 on these, I think, which is good enough. 16-1 is 14-1 is what you get on most standard tuners that you're buying, especially if they came with the guitar. Some big thick strings on this thing. This customer in particular, he puts 12s on his because that's what they come with. So far as tuning stability, locking tuners don't help keep the guitar in tune, correct? Okay, 18-1 sounds right to me. As far as keeping them in tune, let me wrap this so I don't know how loud. Can you hear me while I'm doing this? I know it's going to be like a 15-second delay before you answer, but I'm curious if you can hear while I'm running this tool, or if I need to wait until I'm done to talk to you. Okay, cool. Awesome. So, the nut being more important. There's a lot of factors in this. How important is the nut when it comes to like a guitar with a Floyd Rose on it, right? Or locking tuners. Like there's just zero to do with that because it's locked down. Tuning stability on a guitar with a nut that is pinching the string is obviously going to be a bad thing. At the same time, if you're not one that's bending strings a lot and you don't need your string to glide through the nut effortlessly, you're not going to have a lot of issues with tuning stability. The biggest thing that locking tuners do for people is that if you use them properly, that is, what you need to do is you pull the string all the way through that tuner and you pull it really tight and then you lock it down, you cut it, and then you tune up. So what that does is that creates it so that you don't have a couple of wraps around these tuners. So if you look at how I tune this up, it's going to be tough to see, but I have about 1.5 wraps on every tuner, and that's all you need. What that means is that when you're trying to get your tuning stability right, the string needs to stretch. Even the stuff around the tuner that's wrapped around that tuner also needs to stretch. The more you have wrapped around, the more stretching you have to do to get that stability right. And a lot of times people wrap that thing so with 8 wraps. It's crazy what I've seen. You'll never have tuning stability. That string's going to be garbage before you ever even get it stable. There's a theory out there that says the more wraps, the more mass, so the string sounds better. Well, the vibration stops at the nut. So mass doesn't really mean much in my opinion. I don't think the human ear is hearing whether you have 1.5 wraps or 14 wraps. I just don't think that's a thing. So, to answer your question, is a locking tuner going to keep a guitar intonation more stable? Yes, in theory, because you don't have to stretch out that extra wrap string. But also, if that extra wrap string is already stretched out, the tuning stability should be the same if they're both the same quality tuner, whether it's a locking tuner with 18 to 1 or a not locking tuner with 18 to 1. As long as the string is stretched properly and that tuner is fully functional, the tuning stability is going to be the same. Now, if that tuner is loose or a little broken, you didn't stretch your strings properly, things like that, the locking tuner is not going to be. It doesn't matter what tuner you have, you're going to have a little bit of issues. The nice thing about the locking tuners is the fact that you don't have to stretch as long because you're not stretching out the tuner portion of the string. And the other thing is just that it's just such a quicker thing to do. You pull the string through, you tighten it down, you cut it, you're good to go. So locking tuners are great for people that are gigging and they need to change strings very quickly, or for people who just don't feel like stretching strings out for forever. So hope that answers the question without going into too much detail. String stretcher up here, I do. Yeah, we should say that the next time you go out to a live music, you're just listening to an acoustic show and you're just like, man, you must rep that E string 15, 16 times. That tone is great coming out of that guitar. Oh, show. Now, I will say, I've heard people tell me that, and I've giggled about it in my head because I just don't think that's a thing, but I've never tested it. So, I mean, maybe that's a thing too. Maybe somebody can make a video on that, like just testing, like, hey, I kept adding wraps to my string, and then you can record it, and then you can analyze the wavelengths in your recording to see if there is a physical difference in the sound wave, because physical difference in the sound wave means that there's a change, whether it's in volume or pitch or tone. But if you are matching volume and you are matching pitch, the vibrations per second and the size of that sound wave should stay the same. But if your timbre changes or your tone changes, the actual physical form that sound wave is creating should be changing, I think. So if I'm too nerdy, are people going to stop watching? Anywho, I don't know, might be worth checking out. I'm sure that would be a cool video. Don't know if anyone's done it before. I just don't think the human ear can hear that, even if you can see it. But I'd be surprised if you could see it. So, and a lot of the audio software today too, especially the recording stuff, you can actually you can zoom in on those sound waves pretty far. Oh, lovely. I'm okay with that, Barry. Honestly, if I had a stream going and there were just 100 guitar nerds in it, I don't know, that'd make my life. You say A, but you don't sound like an A. Thought so. Sounded like an E. Just one more time. So, why on earth do we charge $20 to change strings? Well, man, this stream's been going for an hour. I know I haven't been doing this for an hour, but even if I'm going as fast as I can, I mean, it's still a half hour to change a set of strings. $20 is actually kind of a steal if you think about it. Especially when bench rates for most luthiers are a minimum of $45 an hour. And the fact that we're doing all this extra stuff with the cleaning and stuff, and we're still staying at that rate, is just a steal. press rod. I don't remember what size Martin is. I just remember it being a pain in the butt because it's way up there. Yeah. That was a good guess, man. Play way better. How often do you check intonation on guitars? Do you mean on guitars that come in the store, or do you mean on my guitars that I'm playing? I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. Well, while you're answering that, I will tell you, every single time a guitar comes in for a setup, we take care of the intonation. Anytime a guitar comes in and somebody, I think they need a setup, and I want to tell them that I think a setup is best, I will also check intonation like right in front of them to kind of show them like, hey, this is where we're at. Even and with the setup, we're gonna fix this too. Because a lot of times if the guitar's not properly set up, the intonation's whacked. So. On my guitars, I don't check them ever, actually. When I do my setup, I fix the intonation, or I verify the intonation. If it needs fixing, I fix it. And then I won't check that again until I need another setup. So I would say most guitars that I'm playing, I set up 2 times a year on average. Maybe 3. So 2 or 3 times a year I'll check it, basically when I know that they need setups done. Keep in mind when I'm playing, I'm also not a lead guitarist, so I'm the rhythm player in my band, so I'm doing a lot of rhythmy things. So cycle strings. We should have ourselves a wonderfully playing Martin. Cool. So, all good to go. Who wants to call the customer and let them know it's ready? That'd be something. We just had random viewers calling customers and let them know their guitars are ready to get picked up here. So, don't feel bad. You only play that. Well, when you say top 3, you actually mean the low ones, the bottom 3 strings. Top physically, but not top. So, but no, I get you. I don't play much past like the 7th or 8th fret most of the time, especially for rhythm stuff. I'm not saying I never solo. I probably solo on guitar maybe 2 or 3 times a show. But if you knew how good my lead guitarist was, you would understand that I shouldn't even be doing that much. And yeah, big thing for me is just the intonation matters when I'm up here, but you don't hear it nearly as much here as when you're like playing individual notes way up here. So that's a big part of that. But we are officially done with this guitar. You guys want to stick around for some more work? I got other guitars we could work on. You let me know. I'm gonna just go ahead and pause this real quick. This is a cool one. We're doing a lot to this guitar. Quite a bit. A few $100s worth of work on this one. But very cool guitar, and you don't see them that often. It is the Arena Epiphone Explorer. Pretty great guitars. Very unique guitars. This one needs some TLC. The string action. Let's measure it. Because why not, right? At the 12th fret, we are at... Oh my goodness. Wow. That's just so much more. We are over a quarter of an inch off the fret to the bottom of the E string. The low E string. The high E string is just under a quarter of an inch. Pretty high action. You can tell there's a bow here. All of the fret ends are all sticking over the fretboard. The pickups are quite muddy. The switch is working barely, intermittently, as I recall him telling me. So we have a ton of work to do on this one, which means I need a bin for parts. And I don't remember where I put my bins because my shop is everywhere. Yeah, pretty much, huh? It's a slide guitar without it being a slide guitar. Oh, wonderful. So, what's all getting done to this thing? I'm sure you're wondering. Well, we're doing a full setup on it for sure. We are changing the pickups out, including the pots and the switch. We are putting some Wilkinson pickups in there. 3 brand new pots, which we're going to have to actually drill holes in the body for. We're going to do a fret end file as well, which I'm going to do before we oil the fretboard, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. And then we're going to restring it. We're going to do a full setup and hopefully have a kick butt guitar when it's all said and done. I'll save this. Fishman's? No, Wilkinson's. Wilkinson's, not Fishman's. We were on the Wilkinson budget for this guy, not the Fishman budget. So, well, at least these I can't take off by hand because that was getting kind of silly. big plastic nut on here. Normally I would, I think I did encourage to get rid of it, but not really a huge issue when we have a hardtail. That would be a good guitar to do on here though, Barry. If we did that PRS you traded in that has the Fishmans in it that aren't staying in it, obviously. But if we put the pickups in that and got that thing going, got new tuners on it. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm a sucker. Like, they're so cool, but at the same time, every time I try to play one, I just, man, I don't like how it feels. I think they look so wicked awesome. Like, this one looks great, too. It's actually really light, too. I don't know. When I get done with this one, I'll play it a bit, for sure. Obviously, I got to test out pickups and whatnot. So I'm going to play it just for that reason. But I'll play it more and see how I like this. Because I like, I don't know. I like collecting guitars as like a lot of people do, obviously. And Explorer is always one that I've always wanted. So, but anyways, recycling strings. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Just want to point this out in case anyone's watching and they're going, well, he didn't even check that guitar out before he started doing anything with it. Well, I'm replacing all of the electronics on it, so I don't bother testing it because I'm replacing it anyway. So in case you were wondering what was going on with that, I'll be right back. Gotta grab a screwdriver set that's clear across the other side of the room. All right. Some of this has definitely been in here for a while. Some of these screws don't even want to move. What's the most comfortable electric body shape in my opinion? Very similar to something like a Jazzmaster. That offset body style I think is the most comfortable. With like a Gibson scale, which funny enough is exactly what I'm building with that StewMac kit. I like having the curve in the back here and stuff. I did just, however, buy a Alex Lifeson Epiphone Les Paul, which has the neck cutaway and the body comfort cutaway, which is actually a very, very comfortable guitar. So I do like that one a lot. It just popped back too. So let me know if that's just happening on my end or if that's actually happening to you as well. Does it go black? The reason why I asked is because I'm using a GoPro 10 through a wireless connection, and I want to know if that's happening on your end or if it's just trying to catch up or whatever the case is on my end. Anyways, all stuff we got to slowly work out as we grow, right? You're wondering why I'm taking the hardware off. It just helps it. I can clean it much easier. And this thing needs some cleaning. Figure out what I want for dinner. It goes black and mute. Okay, good to know. I hate to see that. That's awful. What I need is an IT expert, someone that knows how I can set cameras up all over my building and use them for streaming. And then, like, I have a lapel mic that I can use wirelessly as well, so I could walk anywhere and just switch from camera to camera. But anytime I go to like Best Buy or whatever, and I ask associates, you know, the subject matter experts on things, like, hey, this is what I'm trying to do, this is what I'd like to do. They're like, oh, well, you got to hardwire that. And I'm like, okay, well, have you ever ran a USB cable that far? Hey, man, welcome to the stream. I don't know if you saw, I did reply back to your message on Discord, but if you want to just bring that guitar in, I know you were talking about fret stuff too. Bring that on in and we could take a look at it. Because again, it might not need a refret, it might just need a fret level crown polish. So, oh no, you were talking. Wait, no, yours wasn't fret stuff. So if the audio is cutting out when I'm talking, chances are it's the noise gate I have on there, and that's just something I need to figure out on my own. Let me see if I can adjust that slightly. Go to filter, edit filter. So all I did now is I just turned the noise gate down a little bit. So maybe when I start to talk quietly, is it when my voice gets quieter, I assume that it gets choppy. So if I'm going to do it right now, I'm going to just slowly get quieter, and then you probably can't hear it until I get loud again. I put a gate on there in case the AC kicks on, in case a motorcycle drives down the road, all that stuff. So, you disconnected yet? No. Yes. Yes. Yeah, the reshape. So I don't really know. It's not something that I do often enough. It would be an hourly thing. But I can't really give you an estimate without seeing it, seeing what the material is. We got to talk about, like, do you want a finish back on it? Is it painted? Do you want a paint match? All that stuff. So I lowered the noise gate. Let me know if that fixed it, if I need to lower it a little bit more. I know when the AC's on, there's this constant, like, noise. And I put the noise gate on to stop that. Again, I'm also just one guy, so I don't hear the end product, and I kind of am going to rely on you guys for probably the first 7 or 8 streams to let me know what's working, what's not working. Your generic Epiphone switch. Sounds a lot better now? Cool. Yeah, weirdly enough, I switched that like 4 numbers. I went from 32 to like 36. And apparently that changed it enough to matter. When the AC kicks on, if I recognize it and I notice it, I'll mention it and we'll see if you guys hear it or not. Yeah, so that went black again for me. But again, I know it's on my end. I know it's because of the GoPro camera and the wireless stuff. So I don't know. I can't. So as I was saying, I can't run USB more than like 2 or 3. Well, not 3 feet. Anytime you get over a meter, the quality of the image starts going down. And I've hooked up a couple webcams and put like a 10-foot extension on them, and it's just disgusting. It looks like I'm watching the 96 Packers Super Bowl run. The image is just atrocious. I can't get anywhere near 720, let alone 1080. So there's I don't know, that's something that I don't know how to fix, and I haven't found anybody that knows how to fix it yet. And like, not that I have a bunch of money to throw at it, but if I want to do this, I want to do it right. So if I need to spend a little money to get that production up, I need to do that. But yeah, those are pretty close too. I'm not a huge Squire person, but their quality's gone up significantly over the last couple of years, to the point where like I'm comfortable playing them with with a setup and whatnot. So I don't think that's something you go wrong with, especially for the prices now. Looks like we've had as many as like 7 viewers at one point, and we're down to 2 again, which is fine. Don't worry, I'm not going to turn off a stream just because there's only 2 viewers. This is pretty funny and gross. Epiphone did this. This guy bought this thing brand new, and this is an Epiphone switch, but this switch would not fit in here. They had to cut away the inside of this body, revealing the cheap, terrible, basically cardboard that this guitar is made out of. So I'm actually going to take pictures of this for the customer so they know. I mean, it looks like some dude just took a chisel and just scraped away all their wood that they made the inside of this body out of to make that switch fit. Just kind of fun. Best Squire you ever played? Best bang for your buck. Best bang for your buck Squire. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess there's no way for me to really negate that. Their classic vibes and stuff have been just solid overall as well lately. So, got a package here. Sorry, he just set it up there for me. So again, I'm not complaining by any means about the quality or anything. But for me, if I'm buying cheaper, right, there's only so much for cheaper. Yeah, I like Epiphone, but even that's not cheap. So we'll be right back. Got a big package. Big boy. So that's why I had to leave for that long. And apparently I needed to sign for it too. So I won't open my new toys on the stream. Don't worry. Alright, so what I'm doing right now is I am just going to disconnect I had cutters up here, didn't I? Found them. So a lot of people are saying it's up there with Mexico. Yeah and no. I still think the Mexico stuff is, you're getting a better product. The Squire stuff is definitely like now though. Before, I would have been comfortable gigging exactly what you're saying, like a bullet. Like I would not be able to gig a bullet and just like not worry about anything. So yeah, nothing wrong with unboxing vids. Well, I mean, if you're looking for a guitar, that's that's not what you're gonna get in that box. Actually, you're gonna get stuff that actually most people don't even care about or know about. We're just knocking stuff over everywhere. Don't worry about it. As long as it's my stuff and not customer stuff, right? Oh, maybe we can unbox it. So, these aren't push-pull or nothing, right? No. Alright. So we're going to disconnect our ground and our lead. And that's for our switch. Perfect. And then we're going to have just a ground and a lead for each pickup. Yay. And then the last thing we're going to have is this ground right here, which is our bridge ground. You guys got that? You're keeping track of that for me? We can pull, pickup, the other pickup, and pull the switch out. Hey, take it easy, man. I'm not going to be streaming much longer as far as like today goes, so just a heads up on that, but I'll probably jump back on tomorrow. The quality's going to be kind of where it's at for now, unfortunately, but hopefully that gets better. But yeah, hope to chat soon, and let me know about that stuff you were asking about as far as work goes. I'd love to get some of that work done for you. So take it easy. And then what do you say, Barry? You want to do a box opening real quick? You got a jet too? All right. Well, I guess we're going to end the stream here then. So take it easy, everybody. Thanks for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. Have a great weekend. If I don't stream again before then, I got a couple shows this weekend. So